LETTER XII OF Clarissa Harlowe, or the History of a Young Lady, Vol. 9. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to volunteer, please visit Librivox.org. Recording by Nicole Lee. Clarissa Harlowe, or the History of a Young Lady, Vol. 9. By Samuel Richardson. LETTER XII Mr. Belford to Robert Lovelace, Esq. Friday night, September 8, past 10. I will now take up the account of our proceedings from my letter of last night, which contained the dying words of this incomparable lady. As soon as we had seen the last scene closed, so blessedly for herself, we left the body to the care of the good women who, according to the orders she had given them that very night, removed her into that last house, which she had displayed so much fortitude in providing. In the morning, between 7 and 8 o'clock, according to appointment, the Colonel came to me here. He was very much indisposed. We went together, accompanied by Mrs. Lovick and Mrs. Smith, into the deceased's chamber. We could not help taking a view of the lovely corpse, and admiring the charming serenity of her noble aspect. The women declared they never saw death so lovely before, and that she looked as if in an easy slumber, the colour having not quite left her cheeks and lips. I unlocked the drawer in which, as I mentioned in a former, she had deposited her papers. I told you in mine of Monday last, that she had the night before sealed up, with 3 black seals, a parcel inscribed, "As soon as I am certainly dead, this to be broke open by Mr. Belford." I accused myself for not having done it over night; but really I was then incapable of any thing. I broke it open accordingly, and found in it no less than 11 letters, each sealed with her own seal, and black wax, one of which was directed to me. I will enclose a copy of it. To John Belford, Esq. Sunday evening, September 3. Sir, I take this last and solemn occasion to repeat to you my thanks for all your kindness to me at a time when I most needed countenance and protection. A few considerations I beg leave, as now at your perusal of this from the dead, to press upon you, with all the warmth of a sincere friendship. By the time you will see this, you will have had an instance, I humbly trust, of the comfortable importance of a pacified conscience in the last hours of one who to the last hour will wish you eternal welfare. The great Duke of Luxembourg, as I have heard, on his death bed declared, that he would then much rather have had it to reflect upon, that he had administered a cup of cold water to a worthy poor creature in distress, than that he had won so many battles as he had triumphed for. As one well observes, all the sentiments of worldly grandeur vanish at that unavoidable moment which decides the destiny of men. If then, Sir, at the tremendous hour, it be thus with the conquerors of armies and the subduers of nations, let me, in a very few words, many are not needed, ask, what at that period must be the reflection of those, if capable of reflection, who have lived a life of sense and offence, whose study and whose pride most ingloriously have been to seduce the innocent, and to ruin the weak, the unguarded, and the friendless, made still more friendless by their base seductions? O Mr. Belford, weigh, ponder, and reflect upon it, now that, in health, and in vigour of mind and body, the reflections will most avail you. What an ungrateful, what an unmanly, what a meaner than reptile pride is this! In the next place, Sir, let me beg of you, for my sake, who am, or, as now you will best read it, have been, driven to the necessity of applying to you to be the executor of my will, that you will bear, according to that generosity which I think to be in you, with all my friends, and particularly with my brother, who is really a worthy young man, but perhaps a little too headstrong in his first resentments and conceptions of things, if any thing, by reason of this trust, should fall out disagreeably, and that you will study to make peace, and to reconcile all parties; and more especially that you, who seem to have a great influence upon your still more headstrong friend, will interpose, if occasion be, to prevent further mischief: for surely, Sir, that violent spirit may sit down satisfied with the evils he has already wrought, and particularly with the wrongs, the heinous and ignoble wrongs, he has in me done to my family, wounded in the tenderest part of its honour. For your compliance with this request I have already your repeated promise. I claim the observance of it, therefore, as a debt from you; and though I hope I need not doubt it, yet was I willing, on this solemn, this last occasion, thus earnestly to reinforce it. I have another request to make to you. It is only, that you will be pleased, by a particular messenger, to forward the enclosed letters as directed. And now, Sir, having the presumption to think that an useful member is lost to society by means of the unhappy step which has brought my life so soon to its period, let me hope that I may be an humble instrument in the hands of Providence to reform a man of your abilities; and then I shall think that loss will be more abundantly repaired to the world, while it will be, by God's goodness, my gain. And I shall have this further hope, that once more I shall have an opportunity in a blessed eternity to thank you, as I now repeatedly do, for the good you have done to, and the trouble you will have taken for, Sir, your obliged servant, Clarissa Harlowe. The other letters are directed to her father, to her mother, one to her two uncles, to her brother, to her sister, to her aunt Hervey, to her cousin Morden, to Miss Howe, to Mrs. Norton, and lastly one to you, in performance of her promise that a letter should be sent to you when she arrived at her father's house. I will withhold this last, till I can be assured that you will be fitter to receive it than Tourville tells me you are at present. Copies of all these are sealed up, and entitled, Copies of my 10 posthumous letters for J. Belford, Esq., and put in among the bundle of papers left to my direction, which I have not yet had leisure to open. No wonder, while able, that she was always writing, since thus only of late could she employ that time, which heretofore, from the long day she made, caused so many beautiful works to spring from her fingers. It is my opinion, that there never was a woman so young, who wrote so much, and with such celerity. Her thoughts keeping pace, as I have seen, with her pen, she hardly ever stopped or hesitated, and very seldom blotted out or altered. It was a natural talent she was mistress of, among many other extraordinary ones. I gave the Colonel his letter, and ordered Harry instantly to get ready to carry the others. Mean time, retiring into the next apartment, we opened the will. We were both so much affected in perusing it, that at one time the Colonel, breaking off, gave it to me to read on. At another I gave it back to him to proceed with, neither of us being able to read it through without such tokens of sensibility as affected the voice of each. Mrs. Lovick, Mrs. Smith, and her nurse, were still more touched, when we read those articles in which they are respectively remembered: but I will avoid mentioning the particulars, except in what relates to the thread of my narration, as in proper time I shall send you a copy of it. The Colonel told me he was ready to account with me for the money and bills brought up from Harlowe place, which would enable me, as he said, directly to execute the legacy parts of the will; and he would needs at the instant force into my hands a paper relating to that subject. I put it into my pocket book without looking into it, telling him, that, as I hoped he would do all in his power to promote a literal performance of the will, I must beg his advice and assistance in the execution of it. Her request to be buried with her ancestors made a letter of the following import necessary, which I prevailed upon the Colonel to write, being unwilling myself, so early at least, to appear officious in the eye of a family which probably wishes not any communication with me. To James Harlowe, Jr., Esq. Sir, the letter which the bearer of this brings with him will, I presume, make it unnecessary to acquaint you and my cousins with the death of the most excellent of women. But I am requested by her executor, who will soon send you a copy of her last will, to acquaint her father, which I choose to do by your means, that in it she earnestly desires to be laid in the family vault, at the feet of her grandfather. If her father will not admit of it, she has directed her body to be buried in the churchyard of the parish where she died. I need not tell you that a speedy answer to this is necessary. Her beatification commenced yesterday afternoon, exactly at 40 minutes after 6. I can write no more, than that I am yours, etc., William Morden. Friday morning, September 8th. By the time this was written, and the Colonel's leave transcribed, Harry was booted and spurred, his horse at the door; and I delivered him the letters to the family, with those to Mrs. Norton and Miss Howe, 8 in all, together with the above of the Colonel to Mr. James Harlowe, and gave him orders to use the utmost dispatch with them. The Colonel and I have bespoke mourning for ourselves and servants. End of Letter XII.